market rate, which is about 15%. It's actually 5%. It's and on reducing balance as well. So with our 2%, it's less than 7%.
I can ask? Okay. Hi. Thank you so much for that. Are you looking at that from a competitor analysis?
Yeah, thank you very much. Actually, our competitors generally are either just providing the tech platform as a tech platform. We have not found financial and the tech. So for us going in there with our tech and then now bringing in financiers, and the fact that we are also not lending on our balance sheet has set us apart.
Thank you. Understanding all the bureaucracy that's in there, what's their willingness to convert into a digital platform? And then two, you mentioned you read.
So, good questions. Politics, but then when you solve a problem that is a real problem for them, that's what we have found. It has helped us onboard them. Because if farmers are unhappy, like if you go to a lot of them, that a lot of farmers were moving away from coffee farming. Cooperatives make 20% by law of whatever the farmers bring in. So when you hurry to do the same thing. So that is what has helped us to get into the market, because we solved a problem that they found worth solving. Our finance test food crops. They want us to go more into food crops, which a lot of the financiers are a bit afraid of getting into because their structure is a bit, and then they can come in.
Okay, thank you, Bonape. A round of applause for her. So, time is 5 minutes for the...
Hi, everyone. I'd like to say boring jobs, but boring, and what I do for a living, into the job and the livelihood and the passion of money-test customers. Now, Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate, additional financing for them outside in the external market as they talk to AFC, as they talk to other funders who support and finance sustainability efforts for nature-based products and nature-based projects. You have this. You have an easy sheet that just has a list of numbers that says survival rate is 2%, survival rate is 97% and 8%. Where that survival rate number came from is the way the international Acre Insights comes in as a carbon MRV provider. We are locally based. That means we have boots of digital enablement, which means we don't just go into your forests and farms and count the number of trees you have and then come and give you 78% survived, and this is what it means for carbon. The third reason is that we are carbon standard aligned. So when it comes to being able to tell your story, to pull yourself into the carbon market, we understand that story. We're the scientists, the engineers. We do the math, we generate the report that you're able to then push forward. We do this by flying a drone over your farm. Now, what you're seeing here is the number of, this is a picture that we've done for our most to be able to estimate the amount of, is then able to detect the number of trees. We pinpoint where each tree is. We delineate and we're able to draw boundaries around each person's plot. And then we go forward and do the additional calculations with IPCC methods to generate a report that tells not just you, your board of advisors, your going on in our country. The reason we do this is we use a drone. Why? Because that, for smallholder farmers in Africa, which is drones allow us to be around 300% more accurate than what satellite data coming in from organizations sitting in Europe and Poland generate reports about our land tell us. We're a lot more accurate. We're also a lot faster. Allow you to cover about 20 acres when we're using field agents. But being able to cover 2,000 acres of land in a day means we're also a fraction cheaper than creating a team of enumerators on the ground to go and collect data. Grateful for the partnerships that we've been able to have with organizations like the Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate and the current. Our digitization means that we're able to quickly ramp up with from a regulatory perspective and also being able to acquire the necessary assets to go into other countries and collect the same data. So boots on the ground in one, serviceable across 6. if you're sitting in the room today and how to walk the journey, then this is how we go about it. It's our 4D approach, the data available, collection, and the delivery. That's all. Thank you.
But I think I was struggling to.
So the customers that we serve are customers that have ongoing tree planting projects. For customers, and these are corporate organizations, forestry organizations, conservation organizations, for monitoring, that they cannot then take that report and issue it internationally for it to be recognized as actual credit or carbon that they've sequestered from the environment. So from a comes out to around 500 to.
You know, does that the peak capacity for you right now?
We can process 3,000 acres per day. 3,000. Tomorrow we get in a group.
Farmers largely. It's more large landowners.
Yeah. So most smallholder, like for the example I showed, the smallholder farmers, they're aggregated by organized 100 farmers. So we work directly with the aggregator.
Thank you.
Thanks for the office now building its own digital platform. How are you guys seeing your demand has actually gone down? So yes, yeah.
So can you hear me? If currently 3 to 6, so then you have data to come in and are not thinking about carbonability efforts and carbon insetting. Then
Okay, thank you. The next setup, applause. One to get more clarification.
Good afternoon. My name is where we provide, and the case in point to this, is that we know demographics have shown that enterprise, and while they do this, there's a lot, that goes on in these villages. One, there's continuous land fragmentation. There's relative to crop farming, area law inputs, majorly because also complicated by government projects and such kind of subsidy schemes, additional to farmer being unaware because of literacy levels in rural areas. In Kenya, while Kenya is still considered to be among the best in Africa, using a last mile approach of trying to shorten the supply chain by targeting the farmers directly and passing on that with farmers and being able to the supply chain gap that has brought about marginalization by building our own cold chain supply chain or infrastructure that is best at the cooperative level of the current productivity, and cover these animals with vaccines to enable them to grow to maturity and be productive. And portfolios that we build all these are health products. The business model is suppliers to us. We have vets in agro-vets that we call hubs, and also considerably also working through individual farms through USSD plus. But again, looking at Africa as a continent, market is huge. And dollars in 2023, we're slightly now doing about 1.4 in revenue annually. And we still feel that with the appropriate investment, we're going to grow this to about 5 segments. We have a traditional model, and we have the last mile model, and we have other complementary products. Farmers $100,000 annually and touching livelihoods of about 1.3 million people. Our journey continues beyond that and expand our portfolio and as well be able to consider export of some of these products across Africa. Our competitive landscape is quite clear. We're the most innovative company in this space, creating accessibility, also maintaining high quality, and doing this with a key differentiator in technology because we're using a platform that is easy to use. The USSD is a platform of choice because we feel that this is usable across all of Africa because of network challenges. This is my team, composed of myself, a vet, and my general manager is also a vet with over 20 years experience and an able team in finance, human resource, as well as operations. And infrastructure farmers. We plant a seed for the future generations, as well as cater
To your ask, because it's the last.
the amount we raised, fortunately, one is, I can see one close at 1 and another at 7 million. The not or equity.
Is this your first time?
We've raised several times. I don't know. I've been in first $100,000 from my Yungo Capital. I don't know if they're here. And we have follow-up investments from Boring Engelheim. We have had.
Thanks. Again, sorry, last question on your business model. If you can just slide quickly back to that slide where you were showing where you play within the value chain with the agrovets. Because it almost looks at farmers transporting and everything. Just want to understand how.
These technologies, agricultural technologies, reach to African farmers through distributors. So you have like a major manufacturer seated in Germany or America, or all these products to other. Some of these models of distribution can actually have layers of 5 or 6 people downstream. And all these people mark up, and this is passed on to the farmer. So essentially what we're going to offer is a service because we've realized we have one product we call sex semen. It costs $8,000 at farm level, but price what the market is selling at, adoption rates. So basically, we're providing as a service.
Okay, thank you very much. So our next startup is Nasaru.
And in front of you is this pink rare, because feeding the extract. First carbon negative spirulina, more known in Kenya, of a vitamin pill, if you will. NASA astronauts take it into space. Start. Native regions. Clear water and then adding chemicals to mimic where it belongs at the shores. So we're setting up a shallow pond to grow the spirulina. We intensify its growth, sports this green magic around the world. Our costs are lower because we're using free and renewable lake nutrients. And even on the CapEx side, we're innovating by changing the way ponds are built using a low-cost modular design. The spirulina market is about $500 million and growing. Our entry is first in targeting institutions in the region, humanitarian and school feeding programs, then expanding into the Middle East, the green powder market. We're actively exploring extracting phycocyanin, which is a phytonutrient, which creates a trial lined up to use it as an additive, as a fish feed, which is another multi-billion-dollar market. So far, we've basically proven that you can grow it 60% cheaper in terms of found this. We have secured a spot alongside Lake Natron. We signed a 5-year lease with the Maasai community, who's hosting. We're raising $500,000 in both equity and grants. In terms of the team, myself and scaling agribusinesses, Selena, and Moses is our Ruth from Pyramedia. It's a venture studio. I hope most of you know. If not, talk to someone with a yellow cap. And Robert is the founder of the first and largest spirulina in the microalgae space and biotechnology. So yeah, join us to make the world a slightly healthier and greener place.
Hi, how are you doing? I had a chance to actually talk to your chief of staff. You have customers in non-profit, bulk, and maybe he can add on another question.
At the moment. So let me just go back to the market slide, right? Yeah, in short, no revenue. All our tests last year were R&D because it hasn't been done, right? So we've now proven it, and our commercial side is under construction, planning to start producing with. It's mainly B2B, but we will explore sort of the direct-to-consumer route with our own brands, but we think we can get a significant share of market. Did I answer your question, or
yes, in a way, maybe I can add. your competitor planning your go-to-market strategy?
Yeah, so our competitors would be globally. In Kenya, there's only one commercial spirulina producer, which we would be like, far cheaper as. But globally, it's mainly China. They're the global cost leader, and that's what we're benchmarking ourselves against.
Final question. What does it mean for the community? I know you signed a 5-year lease, and I'm guessing your biggest challenge will be managing a community. As you scale, you need to take more space in a community. Revenue is being made.
In terms of the lands where wildlife is not fan of the site, but we are working very closely with the community, and almost all of our staff will be locally recruited, which means like thousands of jobs. And then we're also will create awareness about spirulina consumption as well as production. We hope there will be some local businesses. It is definitely the reason.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Startup for this session. We have Flivigo, so a round of applause for him as he.
It's worth it, right? Worth your time. So, how many of you have seen the EV bikes on Nairobi roads? Right? Okay, and how many of you have also experienced you are not alone? Now, Nairobi market, and what we are doing right now is that we have swappable batteries also in Flivigo is doing is we are, and also imagine your battery swapping time reduced to just 10 seconds instead of the usual 3 hours. Getting just about 1% of that. So unlike other players in Nairobi, what we are doing is we are giving out those bikes for free, and we are also not requesting for these riders, where we train them to not just stay as riders, but also to grow as either EV engineers or operations managers in the future. And the catch is that they still get to own this bike even after 18 months without any deposits. So what have we been doing so far? We started 18 months ago in a very small country, Malta, and we've grown from just 0 to raising and 11 cities. So we keep on expanding and we are scaling. Now, these our scale brings us to evaluation. And what are we going to use this money for? We are going the next 12 months. And less than 1 million for profit. Exited one company and the other one is worth $30 million. And we also out. Now, me, just 9 years of experience in automation engineering and tech expansion. And yes, we have Moses and Cilantro. Trust me, they are part of the team also, these guys. So they bring in the energy and the other one just chills at the office. And our unsung heroes, these are the guys that make praising them. If not for them, we wouldn't be here. So what is the next big thing? Battery swapping microvans and solar paneled battery swapping. And we are also seeking a way of tokenizing our carbon footprint. So guys, join me as we electrify the future together. Thank you. So I don't like to see them as competitors. I see them as other players. Them is EV. So unlike leaders, now empowering the riders makes sure that over a period of time. Yeah.
Can give us that?
Yeah, so our margin is about 20% within 12 months.
Okay, thank you for the presentation. Mine is very simple, just to understand how are you making money? Okay,
so how are we making money? We are very close. We have a very close collaboration with Bolt, and we've started that back in the EU. And we have our fleets on board. So that means we are electrifying. We are making money through euros per month, and we get a revenue sharing of 50%.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you guys for listening.
Okay, a round of applause for him. So I'm going to invite the person who will be standing, okay? So allow me to introduce the co-founder and CEO of Octavia Carbon for our founder's keynote on carbon markets and climate impact in Africa. That is Martin Freimüller. A very big clap for him as he makes his way to the stage. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much. And apologies for standing between you and lunch. Yeah, It's a pleasure to be here today. I'm honored to give the keynote speech. Thank you so much. And my name is Martin. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Octavia Carbon. And because I represent one sort of quite extreme end of that market. But what I will use that opportunity for is to, in a slightly biased way, and I'm happy to admit that being on that extreme end, there is a certain bias, but with data, convince you that durable carbon removal has the biggest tailwinds in carbon removal. You are missing out on that massive, massive tailwind. So just as a quick note on what do we do as Octavia. So yeah, that's it. We are building machines, about 70 people, the second ever AAA carbon credit in space. So let's talk about the VCM. Actually smaller than the market was in 2008. And so understandably, lots of investors see the carbon market and panic, right? Especially like, for example, given in recent years, 2021, 2022, for VC investors, that again might look somewhat familiar, that spike. But the point is that there hasn't really been predictability in this market yet. And reduction credits. And that is the bulk of that market. But there is another market that is growing, and that's the one I want to talk about mostly today. And in many ways, it's important to point out one key thing here, which is that the VCM has always been tiny. Again, the most that it got to was something like $2 billion in revenue globally. That's about a sort of mid-cap US company. That's not a big market, but that may well be changing. But you can also ask quickly, as well as that many folks here might have heard about. Big sort of like questions raised. Trust in the market today is still low. But there's another story that we can tell here, which is that the planet needs a ton of durable carbon removal because we keep emitting CO2 into the atmosphere. Oh, sorry, I think that graphic got slightly messed up there. But the point is that like, if the world is going to emit like still some residual emissions by 2050, the IPCC expects something like 5 to 10 billion tons per year, we need to remove an equivalent opportunity. Like if we actually move those 10 billion tons per year by 2050, there's a $1 trillion market. And the key thing to realize is that there is like net zero, like the carbon removal part of this equation is legally mandated in a lot of the biggest markets in the world right now. So let's look at this sort of like graph that I showed you earlier another way. What else happened in 2023? Since to being like a sort of like market in the hundreds of millions of dollars, by now we're sort of like, give or take, a $10 billion market per year, basically. Larger, almost by an order of magnitude, than the voluntary carbon market as it is, the traditional VCM, has ever been. And that's only accelerated. Contracted tons for 2025 have jumped from 16 million tons to 25 million tons. We've already 3x'd the 2024 market, and this is just sort of like the year to date. And so the point here is that like we are now becoming a huge market. And the key thing here is that that can be served from anywhere, doing it right here. And that's especially true for a buyer, and that's Microsoft. And also, like, while the contracted volumes here are now pretty meaningful, again, we're getting to like the tens of billions of dollars increase. We see that spike showing up more in the actual like VCM data yet, because like so little of that is actually recognized revenue, so little of that has actually been delivered. But the point here is that this is a wave that is building, and that wave is building really, really fast. Again, we're talking 3x year-on-year growth. And again, while that's not yet showing in like the revenue data, that revenue is really building. And you can ask, okay, is this a passing fad? Again, usually binding targets for net zero. And that means that, for example, the UK government has recently now said that they will be procuring 5 million tons per year of durable carbon removal by 2030, all put together, basically. That's the kind of growth that we're in for. And it's also true that the UK government is putting in the weight of this sort of contract for difference model behind this as well, that they've also used, for example, those mechanisms